Good afternoon. My name is Ritika, and the topic that is given to me for today's presentation is competing through HR. So comes the introduction part. So these days, businesses basically focuses on the four things, that is rethinking the role of business partner. It basically enables you and the business to get a better understanding or vital link with the strategies of the business. Using people analytics, HR analytics these days is very important. It actually helps the business to identify the talent actions that will drive the values. Then fixing HR operations so that there is no distractions from the HR higher missions. And then the focusing should be basically on the HR resources to make it more agile and in a way so that it supports the fresh priorities that are coming these days. The companies should take these steps, which will make the companies who take all the following above steps will actually help the company to move into a further generation of HR, and that will be a data driven generation and not a experience driven. That will be more systematic way of doing a business and not just an ad hoc way, and that will be more consistent and not just hit and miss way. Now, do they think the role of a business partner? So there are there are senior HR individuals who basically used to counsel their managers, who basically used to counsel their subordinates, basically used to counsel their juniors on various talent issues, so that they can stop acting as journalists and show that they really owe the critical talent asset. And there is big changes that are coming these days in the roles of various HR partners, that is replacing the business partner roles entirely with a new talent value leaders who will not only help business leaders connect talent decisions to value creating outcomes, but they will actually be held responsible for all the performance of the talent of employees. Then, what is talent value leaders? So these have the real authority over hiring and firing, even if actual decision rights remains with the managers. And the TVs, the talent value leaders, should be held responsible using matrices that captures year-to-year skills development, capability gaps, engagement, and attrition rates. The talent value leaders should also be disconnected from day-to-day operations so that they cannot get distracted with the daily employees issues that the employees are facing, and they should actually concentrate on a yearly basis rather than focusing on day-to-day operations. And then the HR business partners are resourceful and smart advisors to managers, few possess a data and an analytical mindset or appropriate problem solving tools, which is actually required these days to take the business forward. Now, the new HR at a glance, the new roles. So, the companies should actually launch various training programs and various rotational career development opportunities for the HR business partners so that they can actually feel that the company values them, and they can also feel like their growth is not stagnant, and they feel that the company actually does something for the growth and development of the employees. Now, people analytics. Companies should access to data readiness, how personal data can enable analytical insights that can add values to the HR functions. And the sustained progress will require a dedicated analytical capabilities that actually involves roles, capabilities, and data governance. Now, these days, as we can see that it is a technological driven world, it is a world where the technology is booming a lot. So in HR also, HR operations also, various technologies has come into force, like there is the use of robotics, cognitive agents, natural language processing, all these things, and AI, all these things actually accelerate the functioning of not just the HR department but business as a whole. Now, resources. So making the HR more agile requires a company to establish a rigorous strategic planning process that will lay out that which initiatives will HR pursue every year to drive value, and which will it will not pursue and stop the practice. A leading global material companies like specifying competencies for its HR leaders, which actually include the ability to use analytics to diagnose and prescribe the talent actions that needs to be taken in a business, translate talent decisions into a profit and loss impact which will affect the business, and the major talent outcomes and their impact that is going to help on the business while holding managers accountable. So all these Keeping all these things in mind, a survey has been done, and the internal survey research shows that managers are more substantially more satisfied with the support that they receive from the HR rather than any other employee. So, the broader leaders for a bigger role. Now, the HR department should start a cohort based high potential program that balances rotations in and out of HR with dedicated time for skill building. The companies should also reward the executives from the other functions of HRs. The potential HR leaders should actually experience line with other functional leadership roles so that they can get to know more about the other roles also. Now, putting people analytics at the core, or we can say that putting people analytics at the center of any organization. Apart from customer centric, it has to be people centric and employee centric as well. So, the organizations, there are many organizations that have already built extensive analytical capabilities, typically housed in center of excellence with some of the combinations of data science, statistical system knowledge, and coding expertise. These are all software to you actually like embed people analytics softwares are required. So the COEs often provide fresh insights into talent performance, but companies still complain that analytical teams are simple reporting groups, and even more often they fail to turn their results into lasting value. As a majority of North American CEOs indicated in a recent poll, there is an ability to embed data analytics into day-to-day HR operations consistently and to use that predictive power to drive a better decision making for the business and for the organization. In today's typical HR organization, there are most of the talent functions that are either implicitly or explicitly follow a process map that just follow a one way of doing anything. And there are steps that are completed by business partners or journalists, other by HR shared services, and still other by COEs specialists. Their embedded analytics either inform or replace the steps with algorithms that leverage the data to drive the fact that are based insights and which are then directly linked to the development steps in the process of the business. There are various companies that uses HR analytics to address attrition, absence rates, and all these things, whether the employees are taking leave, in which year the employees are taking, in which month the employees are taking maximum leaves, and all these things by using all the HR analytics. One, the employer predicts that in which month the employee is taking maximum leave and in which year we have the most attrition rate, what are the reasons why people are leaving the organization. So using all these things by seeing all these things by using various tools of HR analytics, the results are made for the future. The outcomes and the results are made for the futures, for the actions are designed accordingly. And by making the development and delivery of insight systematics, HR actually start to drive a strategic talent value in a more consistent way. Now, analytics in action, succession planning. There is a standard approach that starts with the talent management or organizational management, and COE actually lay out the process for the organization, designing the tools or templates, and then training their stakeholders. Then managers sit down with their HR partners and discuss about the potential succession candidates for key roles that must be kept for the playing for the main roles. A traditional best practice process would then create individual development plans for potential successor that will be based on the gaps between the person and the potential role. Then, as the vacancies occur, all the potential successors may or may not be tapped. Much they are depending upon the manager's order to refer back to those plans or not. An analytical driven succession planning process is very different from what it actually used to happen in a usual manner. First, the machine learning algorithms might review years of succession data so as to understand success factors in a given role. But now, using these insights, the company might derive the top 5 internal candidates for that role, accompanied by customized development plans that would be based on the individual's competencies and skills. And such information would actually support subsequent strategic decisions that will be the consultations between the managers and the strategic HR partners, and cross-functional assessments of enterprise bench strength are to be done. Then there are obviously the business impacts that will be impacted positive. The business will be impacted positively or negatively. So the companies actually mine the data of employee personality traits, leadership style, working patterns, and then introduce changes that can improve the customer service and will have a tangible and positive impact on the financial performance of the company. Now, to achieve these impacts across the board, the leaders will have to make a significant investments in analytical skills and capabilities, but the returns should be commensurate. But based on the study of range of industries, there were various studies done on various sectors with diverse workforce, operating models, and financial features. The McKinsey Global Institute estimates that the company using a portfolio of HR analytics solution could realize an increase of 275 basis points in margin profit making and on an average by 2025. And this will all likely to increase about the productivity gains among front and middle office workers and through savings in recruiting, interviewing time, training, onboarding, and attrition cost. Now there is a fixed HR operations. So the McKinsey research shows that the typical HR department should actually spend close to 60% of their time and resources on transactional and operational HR, despite decades of pushing work out to shared services. The best HR performing HR department spend just less than 40% of their time and resources on these transactional activities, which is quite less. As part of its continuing transformation, HR must therefore raise service levels and improve the employees' experience using next generation automation tools like AI, chatbots, and a standardized process to derive the higher productivity for the business. And there are three critical operational priorities for HR organization which they should keep in mind for the future. That is, there should be a continuous process improvement, there should be a next generation automation technology, and there should be a user experience focused service improvement which must be done time to time. Then there are continuous process improvement. So there are several ways to make HR operations more efficient. That is, providing direct access to informations or transactions online, then introducing the simpler process which is not just employee friendly but the customer friendly also, and ensuring the clear decision making which will not make a confusion, which will not create a confusion among the employees and among the organizations. There is always a scope for smarter sourcing of external vendors, whether through insourcing or through outsourcing. Now, next generation automation technology. So the new automation technologies will soon reshape a number of HR processes building on core human resource management platforms. Robotic process automation, smart workflows, cognitive agents, natural language processing, all these things which automatically like automate the HR tasks previously carried out by the people. The cross-functional complexity of workflow with different HR needed to complete steps such as employer paperwork and scheduling orientation onboardings used to take a long week are robotic process automation solves the problem with the help of bot that can access multiple systems, follow an intelligent workflow, and initiate communications between the employees and the organization. Then onboarding time on average has been reduced by more than two-thirds. Many errors created by manual tasks have been eliminated and the journey has become more compelling for the individuals. For operations, the new frontier of technology is cognitive agents, especially when paired with the natural resource processing. The automated technology can reduce the cost by 20% while maintaining or increasing the service level. Now, due to those technologies, there are various user experiences also. So, the operational effectiveness is a critical part of employee satisfaction with HR. It is also found that the staff employed by about 60% or 60 organizations based at airport, ranging from airlines and security to retail and janitorial, face a common set of challenges and problems. So these challenges were both undermining the employees' job satisfaction and affecting the quality of services that they are providing to their customers and to their passengers. So the airport revamped its shuttle bus schedules, reducing commuting time for the workers using the employee parking lots, which has a tangible effect on the morale of the start of the day. The airport also made it easier for employees so that they can find a way through its building and facilities. Finally, it took an entirely new approach to onboarding employees, providing them with updated weekly information so that everyone, regardless of their jobs and regardless of their roles, could help customers with queries about directions and the availability of of services or events taking place in other parts of the airport. Now the focus HR resources in more agile ways. So applying agility into the organization of HR will be critical to HR's ability to deliver a higher and harder link between the talent decisions and the values. So agility, operations, and structure. So the HR functions needs to be able to create a solid backbone of core process that will not only eliminate the clutter of complexity to the business, but will also deliver the basics without error and delay. Agility combined, if combined with analytics, suggests a structural change, particularly for centers of excellence. With more automation of insight generations means mass customization and delivery of those insights through technology, the HR CEO, COEs will probably be much more a smaller group in HR organizations in the future. Then the shorn of transactional resources and unburdened by operational responsibilities. So these pools of talents will be able to work across disciplines, supporting the new talent value leaders and business as a whole. If HR leaders are finally achieving the promise of being strategic, so that the sustained delivery of talent insights and action will derive a real business value. So by changing the way HR interacts with the business on strategic questions, notably through the creation of new talent value leaders, HR can gain the responsibility and accountability for deriving the talent linked value. And by deploying the data driven insights and solutions in a systematic way, HR can dramatically ramp up the level of talent insights it delivers to the business. By driving the continuous improvement in operational performance, the HR can create the space for its leading thinkers to actually drive the strategic talent insights and solutions for their employees. And by adopting a more agile approach to its resources, HR can also drive significantly productivity and can focus executions and investments on the core initiatives each year that are proven to link to the values. So the chief HR officers is divided into three parts: business partners, which is 5%, center of excellence, which is 5%, and shared services, which is 40%. So the business partner offers a strategic talent council and translate the business strategies to the HR strategies. The Center of Excellence actually offers insight with the help of business partners and support areas of strategic importance. And the shared services actually executes administrative and transactional supports of HR products like low cost standard tasks. And the business partners and the center of excellence actually make up a pool of HR professionals, which are the segments and prioritizing income tasks, example urgent or not, requiring individual or a team, and delegate appropriately. So all these things were discussed in competing through HR. Thank you.